I've had a bad history with my parents. I did bodily harm to her the same way I did to him. I tried to do an act of generosity.
This basement dweller is Ryan True, a kid who thinks he can just murder his own parents and get away with it all. Because while Renee and David True fought for their lives, Ryan was busy doing something else completely.
After everything that happened, I played GTA 5 for a bit.
But even this only scratches the surface of just how twisted Ryan really is. Because over the course of watching his interrogation, you will see each and every single level of crazy Ryan will display, from his absurd triggers.
So you just didn't want him to see you playing Star Wars?
Yeah, and when she walked in, I panicked. I didn't know what to do.
To his even crazier self-defense story.
I defended myself. It was self-defense against both of them. They weren't in their right minds. I don't like having to resort to violence.
On December 10th, 2020, police in Massachusetts were called to perform a welfare check. Neither David nor Renee True, two hardworking parents in their 50s, had shown up to work that morning, which was completely out of character. When police rang the doorbell, knocked, and called, all they heard was silence. Despite Renee and David's vehicles being in the driveway, they weren't responding. Before police could make entry into the home, they received a call from one of David and Renee's children, who was stationed in Texas. And what he had to say chilled them to the bone.
What's your thoughts on this? There's cars in the driveway. Your father's work truck is there.
You guys need to break down the door and find out what happened, because the only thing that I can think, honestly, sir, is they're not alive. That's the only thing that I can think. You need to bust down the door. My brother is autistic. He has issues. I don't know if he went off the there.
With that call, police immediately had a suspect, 21-year-old Ryan True, who lived in the basement of the home. Unfortunately, that call also told them the likely outcome. When they opened the door, they were going to find Renee and David deceased. And that's just what they were faced with. Both of Ryan's parents had been killed by multiple wounds, dragged to separate rooms, and then covered with a blanket. Ryan, of course, was nowhere to be seen. Police quickly tracked his phone and located him parked on a rural fire road nearby. Police took him into custody to get his story. And story is the right word here, because Ryan sure is trying to weave a fantastical one. When detectives bring him into custody, it becomes clear that they're already in for an unsettling interrogation.
Hi, I'm Paul Rigo with the Safeties. This is Timothy Neal here with some number. Okay, you look familiar. So when did you graduate high school?
I graduated from Plymouth.
Oh, Plymouth High School? Yes. All right, we're going to take you into another room and talk to you a little bit. Okay with that? I'm going to ask you to wear a mask, because we're all going to wear them these days, right?
Yep.
Okay. Don't forget about your glasses on your left there, bud.
These won't stick.
Okay. Do you want us to, we'll try to fix them for you.
Do you need them right now, or?
If you want to,
they're prescription, so
okay. All right.
Whenever you can get to it.
Okay.
Tell me what's going to be fine without them? Is it kind of?
Like if you had to read something or sign something.
I can see fine up close.
Okay. We're going to find that other officer, Oleski, the one that said he'd try and fix them. Okay. So unless you can do it, Steve. Yeah. He said he had duct tape. Yeah, some duct tape definitely works. Yeah. All right. We'll try to get him fixed. You want to talk to me anytime while they're doing that? All right. Yeah. Just follow me this way, okay?
Detectives read him his rights and get down to business.
So Ryan, we're just trying to piece together everything. So if you can walk us through, did anything happen between you and your parents last night or this morning or anything like that?
Yes, I was physically harmed. Okay. There was a physical attempt to harm me.
Okay. And what was that? Can you describe that, or what happened?
Pure anger, and I was being grabbed, just pushed around, being thrown around the room.
Okay. And who was that by?
My father.
Your father?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your father's name?
His name is David.
David? Okay. What time did this happen?
Somewhere after 5
This morning or last night?
p.m.
PM? Okay. So 5 p.m., you and your father get in a physical altercation. Okay. Can you describe, besides, like, what was the altercation between you two?
Verbal and physical.
Verbal and physical? What prompted this?
It's this quarantine. They weren't handling it well. It was driving them crazy. They weren't in their right minds. And they've been making up problems that didn't exist, and whatever stress, problems, you name it, anything that wasn't going right in their life, they would come to me and take it out on me.
Okay. So what were those stress problems in regards to the pandemic and stuff? If you can describe them, if you know what those are.
Could you say that again?
I'm just trying to, so when you said that your parents were taking out problems and stuff, what were those problems that your parents were having in regards to?
They weren't happy with being stuck at home.
Okay.
They wanted to work, and even though one of them wasn't even working, they would take up work issues. They didn't have that on me.
Okay. And you said that roughly happened around 5 o'clock last night? Okay.
In the past, they've both attacked me physically.
They both attacked you physically? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any injuries or anything from that?
No.
Okay. Last night, when everything transpired, when you had that altercation with your father, did you receive any injuries from that?
Yes.
Okay. That's your injury to your hand?
This is the closest thing.
Okay. How did that happen?
So, I defended myself. It was self-defense against both of them, out of fear and worry that they would try to harm me. I turned them back in self-defense to protect myself.
Okay. When you say it was in self-defense and they were harming you, what exactly?
I didn't want it to come to that point. I wanted to walk away.
But he didn't. Instead of walking away, this son of the year decided to stab not just one of his parents, but both of them. I don't know about you, but to me that doesn't sound like someone who wasn't looking for a fight.
So walk us through what happened.
He was drunk. Even when they're not drunk, they can't stand me.
Okay.
So while he was drunk, he lost control of his actions and started to attack me.
How do you do that?
Grabbed me, just screaming and yelling at me.
Okay.
And I defended myself.
How did you? So the injury, and I just want to make sure. So the injury to your hand is from your father, okay? Of what you told us. How did he? Like, how did you get that injury? Like, what caused that injury?
I had a pocket knife on me, and I wasn't willing to take being harmed anymore.
Okay. So is that injury from the pocket knife that you
Yes.
had in your hands?
I used it solely for self-defense.
Okay.
You already?
Yeah.
Okay. How big is the pocket knife?
About 4 inches.
About 4 inches? Okay. Can you describe the pocket knife?
It's about this big. Has a orange skull engraving on it, like plastic.
Color's the handle.
So the orange skull is on the handle? Okay. So describe to me, so when you're writing it, it looked like you're right-handed. Are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
Right-handed? Okay. And then from the injury, okay, do you have, was the knife in your hand when you sustained the injury?
When I was defending myself, it was a misswing, and it hit my left hand.
Okay. So, and walk me through, because I just want to understand. So, what you described before was that you had a verbal argument with your dad.
It started out as verbal, escalated into physical.
Okay. And what was he physically doing to you that then you wanted to defend yourself?
I didn't know if he was going to try and me by the throat, push me and throw me against the wall.
Okay. Have things like that happened before?
Close to it.
Okay. When you say close to it, though, like they've been to that point, but has he ever physically hurt you before?
No.
Okay. So there's never been a physical, it's just
a lot of threats.
Okay.
Almost every form of they've both committed against me.
What would the different forms be?
Bullying. They've tried to invade my personal privacy.
How would they do that?
My phones, my games.
You mean they were just like looking on them?
Just sneaky. Like, there was no reason for it. I wasn't doing anything.
Did they accuse you of doing something on your phones? Or
on that day?
On what day? Yesterday?
On yesterday.
Is
I
that
was accused of doing something bad.
what did they accuse you of?
They thought I was looking for trouble.
On your phone?
On my games.
On your games? What games would you play?
PlayStation.
PlayStation. Yeah, but what kind of games?
Star Wars.
Okay. And how did that playing Star Wars lead to you looking for trouble?
I didn't want to show it was on my TV screen.
But
I like that kind of thing private. It's my...
So you just didn't want to see you playing Star Wars?
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. You didn't have anything else on the TV screen?
No.
We couldn't find any evidence of exactly what Ryan was looking at when his father entered the room, though had it been video games, that may have been a trigger for his parents. Not because they were worried he was doing bad stuff, but because they were urging him to apply himself in life. At the time of Ryan's arrest, he was unemployed, living in his parents' basement, and likely moderating a few Reddit boards.
So did you shut off the TV, or did you shut off the game so your parents didn't see it, or were you trying to keep them out of the room? Like, what was...
I was trying to mind my own business and hide what was on my TV because I wasn't comfortable with them seeing it, and escalated it.
What did you do to prevent them from seeing what was on the screen?
I pressed the power button.
Okay.
And turned off the TV.
Okay.
And they took offense to it.
Okay. So you power everything down, the TV, the console. What happens next?
Immediately after that, they kept bringing up this problem that didn't exist. They were, it seemed like they were targeting me.
So then, is that when the verbal altercation started? At that point?
Yes.
Okay. Where are you when this verbal altercation occurs?
I'm in my room. I'm in my chair. I'm trying to...
When you say your room, your bedroom?
Yeah.
Is that on the first floor or second?
First floor.
First floor.
Okay. So besides you, who else is in the room?
It was me and him.
Okay. When you say him, is that your father, David?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, what happens next? Take your time, no rush, okay?
After it went from verbal, it got physical when they wouldn't stop targeting me. They wouldn't stop intruding, just bothering me.
Okay. You said they. Were they both there at this time, or was it just you and your dad right now?
It was just me and him.
Okay.
And when I began to yell I yelled back because I tried defending myself. I wasn't trying to do anything wrong.
Okay.
So what's
and then immediately after I yelled, that's when he immediately got up in my face and began to physically harm me.
Okay. When you got in your face and you say he was physically harming you, what was he doing to physically harm you?
Grab.
Okay.
By the arms?
By the arms, and then I couldn't tell if he was going to try to grab me by the throat.
Okay. So is he restraining you? Is it a restraining?
Like
or
an
is
attempt to push me against the wall.
Okay. And who does that? Just so that we're clear.
It was my father who tried to push me and grab me.
Good.
So at that point, like you said, you didn't know what your father was going to do next. What do you do in that? What's next?
Once he grabbed me, I defended myself and did bodily harm back.
Okay. When you say you defended yourself, okay, how did you defend yourself?
I didn't know what to expect. I couldn't tell what was going to happen, so to protect my life, I took his.
How'd you do that?
With the switchblade.
And where was that?
In the bedroom.
Where do you keep that in the bedroom?
On a table stand next to the bed.
No, it's still there. And that's where it was yesterday? That's where you grabbed it from?
I don't like having to resort to violence.
Okay. So when you said that you defended yourself and you took his life, how did you do that? What did you?
As many times as I could.
Okay.
And I tried to make it as fast as possible.
Okay. When you David, that's who we're talking about, correct? Where did you?
neck, the head, the chest.
How were you holding the knife when you were protecting yourself?
I was holding it like this.
So where was the blade, coming up or down? Okay.
There's a problem with Ryan's story here. Despite him claiming that his father beat him, there was absolutely no evidence of that on his body. No bruises, no wounds, nothing. The only injury on his body were slices on his hand, which appeared to have been as a result of the knife slipping while he stabbed his father.
So, while this is happening with David, with your father, where's your mom at this point?
About an hour later, she walked in, and after I had took his life, I panicked. I didn't know what she was gonna do, and out of fear and worry that she was gonna do something too, because that's happened, they've both come at me and attacked me. With the intent to defend myself and just in case something. I didn't know if she was gonna try to hurt me either at that point. And when she walked in, I
Walked into the other room where you and your dad were?
she walked in from the outside to the inside of the house.
Okay.
An hour later, after I took his life.
Okay.
And when she walked in, I panicked. I didn't know what to do. I thought she was going to have a similar reaction he did. And out of worry and fear for my life, I didn't want any harm to come my way. I don't want any harm to come my way. I took her life too.
Okay. I want to just back up a little bit, okay?
Okay.
So, was your mom, when you had the altercation with your father, with David,
She was
okay, she wasn't home? Was she not home? Was she working? Or was she
in the backyard.
She was in the backyard? Okay. And was she just working around the yard?
Yeah.
Okay. And then how did your mom enter the house? Through which door?
She entered through the back side door, not the one closest to the driveway, the one to the back end.
Facing out the back end.
Yeah. When she walked in, I defended myself and took her life as well.
Okay.
I was afraid that she might have also tried to do harm.
And what was said when your mom came in the house?
There was no verbal arguments or anything. It was quick escalation because what worried me and had me panicked at that point is what could have happened if she saw his body.
Okay.
And what had me more worried is she ran to the second floor and was running for a gun in the closet. I think there's guns in that closet.
When you say that closet, which closet?
The bedroom.
So your parents' bedroom was on the second floor?
Yeah.
Okay. What made her run up the stairs towards her bedroom?
When she walked through the door, I was afraid what could have happened if she found the body, so I attacked her to defend myself.
How did you attack her? Just like when she walked through the door, you just...
I did bodily harm to her the same way I did to him.
Okay. On the first floor.
And it lasted from the first floor to the second floor.
When you say you did bodily harm, the same way you did to your David, with the same knife?
So I took both of their lives to defend myself, to protect myself.
Okay.
Leading up to David and Renee's murder, several people had heard from the couple that Ryan was acting out. He had recently stopped taking the medication that he used to stabilize his mood swings. The day before the murders, Renee actually spoke to a coworker about how her son was getting out of control. During the hour-long conversation, Renee seemed utterly exhausted and concerned for what the future would bring. Ryan's brother, Doug, had also heard about his struggles recently. According to Renee and David, Ryan had become combative and unpredictable.
You then you're panicking prior to what transpired between you and your father. And then you, in your words, you defended yourself, and then you did the same to your mother as you did to David.
Yes.
Okay. And then your mom then was fleeing, and you followed her to the second floor?
Yes.
Okay.
If I could have, I would have stayed in my room, not left it, avoided them. And if they didn't scream and yell and attack me, they might still be here today. And none of this would have happened if they didn't target me.
And just because I want to get down to it, because we talked about what happened with your father and stuff, you indicated that you used the same knife that you used prior? Okay. And again, that's the knife that you're talking about that had the orange skull on it. They described as being 4 inches. Okay. Where did you, when you did harm to your mother, as you stated, where did you harm her?
The same places as him.
Okay. And what were those?
During the head, the chest, the neck.
When she was running upstairs, did you know at all while she was running up the stairs?
Yes.
Did you, after everything happened with your parents, did you move them at all or touch them at all after?
I slightly relocated the bodies.
Okay. Where did you relocate them from?
To a different room.
To a different room. Okay. So you played video games last night?
Yeah.
Okay. Last night, what games did you play?
After everything that happened, I played GTA 5 for a bit.
Okay.
Grand Theft Auto 5. And I went into the game, I went into the online with the intentions to give virtual money to people before I left.
Okay. How do you give virtual money to people?
The game has a fake currency.
Okay.
It's like made believe.
And why would you be giving it to other people?
I tried to do an act of generosity.
Okay. Do you normally do that?
Often.
Okay.
I like helping other people on video games and anything really.
Okay.
Ryan doesn't seem to understand that someone as they're running for their life doesn't exactly help his self-defense narrative. His mother was repeatedly stabbed as she ran up the stairs. There was evidence of throughout the home that proved the attack was prolonged. Ryan hadn't attacked to save his life. He had done it to kill.
So after everything that happened with your parents, what do you do next? Because we're talking, somewhere between 5 and maybe 6, 7 o'clock that all this happens. Is that a fair estimate of like the time frame of yesterday? Okay, and this would have happened on Wednesday. Okay, because today's Thursday. Okay. What do you do throughout the night? Do you stay home? Do you leave?
When I was defending myself, my glasses broke. I spent 3 hours or more looking for one of the lens.
On these ones here?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
that your glasses broke during the altercation with your dad?
with both of them.
Okay. What'd you do after you found the lens?
I was going to flee, and I did. I wasn't sure what to do. I had gathered food, water, some bed sheets, and I was gonna go try to hide somewhere, and then I decided not to.
Okay. And that was all last night? That was going through your head? Okay. Did you go to sleep at all last night?
No.
Okay. So you're
I'm running on 0 hours of sleep.
okay. And then what prompted you to leave this morning? And what time did you leave this morning, roughly?
I left the house at around 6 or 7 in the morning.
This morning.
Okay. And then you said prior that you gathered like food, water, bed sheets, and all that stuff. What did you do with those items?
I left them in the car.
Okay.
I gathered them, I prepared them, and took off with them in the vehicle.
Okay. Did you put them in the car last night or this morning?
This morning.
This morning? Okay. And then where the knife that we've talked about a couple times with the orange blade, with the orange skull on it and stuff, where is that knife located?
I carried it on me. And not to do harm, I had it on me. I wasn't going to do anything with it. That was up until I had met up and with the people that had led me to here.
Okay. So the knife that you used was on your person?
It was on me, and it was...
Was it on you when you got attacked to leave this morning?
Yeah.
Okay. It was in you?
It was in my pocket.
In your pocket. Was it in your pocket when they brought you in here?
When I had arrived to get in the police car,
Yep.
they took it off me right there.
Okay.
Okay.
So when you took off in the car, did you go anywhere?
Took a few turns and stopped somewhere and tried to sleep.
Ryan did try to flee the home. When he was discovered by the fire road in his mother's stolen vehicle, it was loaded up with suitcases and weeks' worth of food, indicating that he had plans to try and escape the consequences of his actions. And apparently, he hasn't let go of that plan yet.
Is there anything that you want to add that we didn't talk about?
Yes, I've had a bad history with my parents. Things have been always never improving, getting worse. Like, they hated me.
Mm-hmm.
It was always bad. Ever since I was 18, I've received a lot of.
Okay. And that was the that you were describing before?
Yeah.
Okay. But as you said before, though, there's never been any physical. It's always been to the point, but it's never gotten physical.
2020 is the only year it got physical. From 2018 to 2019, it's always been verbal, extreme arguments.
Okay. All right. And then, was this the first time that it got physical?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's never been a physical altercation besides what transpired yesterday. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't want for it to get physical. I wanted to go to sleep on my bed like nothing happened.
Okay.
If you were defending yourself, right? What made you pack the car up to take off? What was running through your mind?
I left in the car. I was gonna go find some woods to hide in and change my mind.
Initially, Ryan was determined incompetent to stand trial. However, in May of 2025, after over 4 years in custody, he was found competent and given 2 life sentences for the murder of Renee and David True. Our thoughts are with his siblings, the community, and all of their loved ones who never should have had to experience this grief. Thank you for watching today's video. Whether you're new here or have been with us for a while, check out one of the craziest cases I've ever covered right here, or one of my newest uploads right here.